Hi, I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kira.
And we are
the Keepers of the Books,
your online librarians. And today we're here with an Ask the Librarian question. How can you get out of a reading slump when you're stuck and you're just not enjoying reading? Whether or not you've been an avid reader in the past, how can you get back into reading? We all get into slumps where we're just not enjoying anything we're reading lately. Is it the books, or is it us, or is it just that we need something different or new, a new idea, a new approach? So if you're thinking this, you're not alone. I pretty much spent 2015 not enjoying reading. I shouldn't admit that as a librarian, especially if my students see this, but 2015 I just was not quite getting into a lot of the stuff I was reading. So I took a break from YA and mostly read adult books, nonfiction, stuff like that. And yes, I have gone to PubMed and just read things for fun, which I know is bizarre and strange. Here's tip number 1, Kira.
Tip number 1, make a short list of what you like to do besides reading. We all know you have interests besides reading, and these are what I call built-in appeal factors. So whether there's some kind of TV show you tend to gravitate towards or a movie genre you like, those can be applied to books too. For example, I love action, adventure, fantasy movies, so therefore I tend to gravitate towards the fantasy adventure books. How about you? What do you gravitate towards?
Oh, it varies a lot. Even a hiking guide is fun. But yeah, I know. Maybe there's a TV show you've liked. A lot of those TV shows have books to go with them. Burn Notice, Monk, Richard Castle has all the Nikki Heat books and then some. There's a lot of that kind of thing right now that's available. And a lot of those are pretty fun. They're not so deep, but they have a fun factor to them. You could try something completely and totally different. If you are always reading fantasy, maybe it's time to try historical fiction. You can ask some other people for recommendations, especially if you're just getting into a genre that you haven't read for a while. Tip 2, try something completely different. If you're always reading fantasy, try something totally different, like historical fiction. If this is a new genre or you haven't read it for a while, ask a librarian, ask a friend, find out what's really drawing people in right now. There's always something popular in every area, even though you may not know what it is.
Tip number 3, try an audiobook. There are some books that, admittedly, I don't like the book, so I'll listen to it. I have a few favorite audiobook narrators that I generally recommend in case you don't know of any. Jim Dale, my favorite of all time. Every narrator gets compared to him. I also love ones like Lorelei King, Tavia Gilbert, and what are some of the ones you like, Jessica?
Well, Jim Dale's definitely my favorite, but the one who narrated Study in Charlotte was very, very good, and he was similar to Jim Dale. There's a couple that I like. I don't necessarily know them by name, but the winner of the Odyssey Award was Echo by Pamela Munoz-Ryan. The way that one was narrated, I loved the way the narrator did that one, and it had a lot of special effects. The harmonicas, the voices were really very, very good. Mm-hmm. I loved the one who did Out of Abaton. I know you know who these narrators are. If not, we'll put them in the notes below.
We'll put them in the notes below.
We'll look them up. Out of Abaton was one where it felt like an entire cast was narrating it, but it was just one person. You could have completely been fooled. And the audio effects that they're bringing in now and the actors, it's just really a whole different world and a treat, and you get stuck inside this little world and you don't want to read the book, you want to listen to it.
What I love about audiobooks is it's like a movie in your mind. You mentioned several things like special effects. Audiobooks are meant to entertain you. That's why I love them so much. When you listen to an audiobook, think of it as like you're going to a movie but you can't see the movie. What's the next tip?
Read a book that a movie was based off of, or go watch movie trailers that were books and read the book instead of watching the movie. If you like the trailers, you're going to like the books. For instance, right now, Jack Reacher's out. Jack Reacher was a book, and Jack Reacher's very action-packed. It's kind of fun, and that might be a good way to get out of a slump. You can try searching the internet for books made into movies, or ask a librarian. And when you're done with the book, watch the movie. Maybe you've already seen the movie and you want to read the book because it's usually a whole different experience and the plot's quite a bit different. Well, and if the plot's the same, maybe the order of events is different or there's a lot more in the book.
I figure with movies that have been based off of books, there's a reason the book was made into a movie. And it's usually going to have something that will appeal to a wider range of people.
Check out if some of your favorite authors in the past have new books out or new series. Or see what they're recommending on their Twitter account or their YouTube, like like John Green. They generally have books under different pseudonyms, or they may have, some of them have ghostwriters. I know they do. Because there's no way Patterson's writing that many books, and plus they put the other names on the books now. See what they come out, see what they recommend. Maybe you need to go back. Maybe you've missed the last 3 of Jim Butcher's and you need to go reread them because you forgot what's happening.
Guilty.
Check out a bestsellers list or ask a friend. Bestsellers lists are everywhere. New York Times has multiple bestsellers lists for different genres or age ranges. Check Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Goodreads.
So you can also look at things like Pinterest. If they're pinning it, it's probably more popular. Ask a friend. Your friend, I'm sure out there, has a book that they've absolutely loved and they're just dying to let you know about it.
You know, most importantly, before we finish this, one thing I always tell my students is that don't feel like you have to finish a book unless you have to review it for a book report or something like that. Because if you get 50 pages in or 100 pages in and you're just not jiving with the book, who cares? Put it away. Try another one. Maybe that's just for you not right now, or maybe that book's just not for you. There's a lot of books and a lot of people.
So another tip is, we've mentioned a couple times, but check the social media sites like Goodreads, Library Thing, or other book-friendly social media sites, because they have lists that are on there that are perfect for finding that type of book you like. So I can search Goodreads for fantasy lists, look for the newest nonfiction that I might want to read.
We tend to subscribe to a lot of newsletters from publishers. So we get the newsletters from Random House and Penguin and Epic Reads and Fierce Reads. And we tend to keep up on those because, well, it's our job. And then we need to know what our students are going to be asking for, or we have somebody who's reading a series and we can get the book for them and say, hey, you know, this is coming out. We put a hold on it for you. Are you interested? And it's almost always a yes.
Tip number 8, find out what your favorite author recommends or is currently blogging about. Almost every author out there has an online presence. Find it. You could literally internet search their name and it'll probably pop up.
Number 9, join a reading challenge. See what your local bookstore has. Your indie bookstores tend to have book clubs, or they know about book clubs, or your libraries do, and they may have a group that they can hook you up with, or just have some reading challenges available. For instance, one county, one read, one city, one read. You always have the book tags and challenges on here and the readathons. You can check some of those out. Social media posts, Pinterest, or you can start one. It may give you a new goal. See who else likes to read and start a group.
You can also look on sites like Overdrive. They have a United We Read type book every couple of months. And your local library will probably have access to that, or your school.
A lot of those types of reads are meant to appeal to a wide audience. The first one I ever did was our One County, One Book with our library system here, and it was The Book Thief. I have to say that book obviously has never decreased in reading interest, and it is a hard read, but it is a very good read.
And that's definitely something I probably wouldn't have read until we had it for the One County, One Book. So it's a great way to get you to branch out.
Okay, number 10. Try rereading some of your old favorites, or read to someone else. Some of your old favorites, for instance, mine's Harry Potter. I don't want to admit how many times I have read Harry Potter. Or, well, Kira's gone through like 3 copies of the Stephanie Plum books, and I probably helped with that. I love those books. And they're fun to listen to, and they're fun to read, and they read very quickly. You can honestly read one in 2 hours or 1 hour, depending how fast you're reading. And they make you laugh. So try something that makes you laugh. This book reminds you why you want to read, why you love reading, and you kind of have a bond with that book. But try reading it to somebody else. Maybe sharing that book with somebody else will be fun. The Harry Potters now have the picture book ones. What a perfect book to read to a younger sibling or a niece or nephew or daughter or son at night. And you can help them learn to love that book. And the good news is you still have 5 more releases to go, so they'll be a little older by the time you get to the scary ones. Last of all, Kira's favorite. If you can't read to a person, you can read to a stuffed animal or a dog or a cat, a pet. Generally, they fall asleep unless you say boo. I don't know why. If we say boo, our dog comes up and like attacks you with his tongue and licks you. So, as long as the book doesn't say boo, you're safe reading to the dog.
There's always your local library. We mentioned that, but we do have a few other sites we'd like to suggest to you. I follow a few too many book-related sites myself, so I won't list all of them. I may put a few more in the description for you. But a couple to look at would be, of course, Goodreads.com and LibraryThing.com, which we've mentioned. Pinterest, of course. But there's a couple others that I frequently refer to for help with library books. One is a service our library offers called Novelist. So check, a lot of libraries offer something like that, where it has book suggestions and based on your appeal factors. Book Riot, that site is more like a blog, but they frequently post, if you liked such and such, check out these books. Another one for younger kids would be readbrightly.com. Read Brightly is very family-based, and it has anywhere from 0 all the way through adult.
There's AudioFile magazine. We especially like this one in the summer because they have a teen YA sync, and they give you 2 audiobooks a week
For free.
They pair well together. Sometimes they've been a nonfiction and a fiction book, and other times they've been a classic and a fiction book. So they're free. You can only download them for the week, but it's really, really fun. They're generally very popular titles at the time. And then you have ALA.org. Search the book list there. You have Odyssey, Newbery, a ton of them, Caldecott. You also have your school library journal, library journal,
Publishers Weekly. These are all available online for free to look at, so you don't have to be a librarian to look at what they suggest.
You may not be looking at the most current reviews, but you'll have reviews. One of the sites we review for when we first started was kissthebook.blogspot.com. Now, it focuses just on kids and YA literature from early reader through upper teens. And that has a lot of the current reviews on it as well. We actually do still review for them. And here's a shout out to them because they're awesome and they give us books to review.
And remember, there are other kinds of awards out there other than ALA's. Audio Awards are sponsored by AudioFile. And they're awesome because they're for audiobooks, and if it doesn't rock as an audiobook, it's not going to get nominated. They're very particular.
You can look at your state library award list too, or your local library award list, because these are picked by librarians. Librarians know what people are wanting to read. They're generally going to pick things that are not just enjoyable, but that get lots of people to read them. So those are our tips. We're getting you to read again, or to get you out of that reading slump that we all get into once in a while. If you need some suggestions to help you get out of your reading slump, go ahead and put that in the tips below and we will comment and give you some ideas. Until next time, happy reading. Bye.